Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Unleashing the Power Women Voices event. I'm excited to have you for our second event of the day of this nature. If we haven't met yet, my name is Ramona Jan, and I will be your host for today's event. And these events we host every single month featuring incredible, inspirational women from all around the world. Today, we have truly inspirational lineup of women. I think we've got about 11 speakers on our stage. You're in for an absolute treat now. If you like to hear other women's stories, you like hearing of others overcoming adversity, if you want to hear more about not just business, but personal growth, development, healing, inspiration, how others have reached their success, this event is going to be for you. So I encourage you to stay with us for this event. And if you can, please share it to your own social media followers. This is how we're able to reach more people from all around the world. Now, one of the reasons why we host this event is to spotlight the voices of women. And this is one of our missions really at Women Thrive, is to create a stage and a platform for women to have a voice. I know what it's like not to have a voice. I know what it's like to feel insignificant. I know what it's like to lose your identity to trauma. And I know, and I've connected with many, many women who have struggled to put themselves out there. So my mission is really to support that and support women from all around the world to not only to have a voice, but to have a supportive and safe platform where they can share their stories. The ladies that you are going to be witnessing on our stage today, they, in my eyes, are heroes. In my eyes, they're warriors. They have faced life adversities and challenges, but they're here to share their testimony. They are women next door, women from our communities, your communities, from different backgrounds and things that they have experienced. And I always say that there's so much more that connects us than separates us. So much more that unites us. And as you hear our speaker stories today, you will probably see yourself in their stories. You may relate to some of the experiences they have had. And the only thing I ask, if you do enjoy this event, if you feel inspired and motivated by our speakers, connect with them, share something in the chat, let them know you're watching, let me know you are here to support them. And that's the best way to give flowers. I just want to say that it's not an easy thing to share your story on a global stage. It's not an easy thing to be vulnerable. And at times, you have to come at the edge of your comfort zone. And this is where we really find ourselves as warriors. And without the challenges, without the life's adversities, you wouldn't know your own strength. So, what you get to hear today is women who have come at the edge of their comfort zones, who have faced life challenges, and they have overcome. And I am so thrilled to invite our speakers to our stage today. So if you're watching this live right now or watching this on replay, let us know where in the world you are. You will be meeting ladies from all parts of the world. This morning we had an amazing event. We had ladies from Australia, Europe, United Kingdom, US, and all parts of the world. So I'm sure today's lineup is going to be just as inspiring and empowering. And with every event, there is a bit of a golden thread that runs throughout. And I'm curious to see what it is, because this is not pre-planned, this is not orchestrated. There's simply magic and divine um, intervention of the universe to bring just the perfect lineup of speakers. And I know that some of the messages that they will be sharing today are here for someone, whether it's just one person listening and they need to hear it today. I know that is here on purpose and for you to hear these messages. So I'm not going to drag this on because I know all of you are waiting to hear our speakers from today. So let's fire up the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Who are you here to support? If this is your first Unleashing the Power Women Voices event, let us know in the chat that it is your first time attending our event. And if not, then just say hello and introduce yourself. I'd like to invite my first speaker. I'm really thrilled to have here on our stage today. So let's get this party started. Let's open up the floor to our lovely speakers. So my first speaker is Stacey Page. Stacey Page is a former New York City event planner to the elite, turned spiritual life coach and yoga instructor. She believes that we are the architects of our own lives, and it's up to us to design our life in a way that we truly want. Her approach combines the wisdom of spiritual law with practical and actionable steps to help her clients to live in alignment and with their highest potential. Stacey, it's so good to have you here. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. How are you, Raymonda?
I'm good. It doesn't look much of a concrete jungle behind you from being from New York City.
Actually, I moved. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I've got green and I've got lush and I've got water and it feeds my soul.
I love that. I think, I can relate to that after living in London for more than 20 years. I certainly escaped to a place that just feels so luscious for my soul. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's great to go back. I love going back to the vibrancy of the city and I love having my little oasis here that I can ground and just replenish and be.
Amazing. Well, I'm really excited to have you kick off our showcase today, and I'll come back at the end to have a little chit chat with you. So, over to you, Stacey.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. So, life doesn't always go the way we plan, right? We have an idea about how we think that things will be or how we think that things should be. We have an idea about how we think that people will be or how we think that people should be. And it doesn't always work out, right? Sometimes it's a minor disruption. And I believe if we live long enough, that at least once we will all experience in our lives that moment where life as we know it ends, be it the diagnosis, the death of a loved one, the betrayal. It's that moment that brings us to our knees and life is never the same. So I've had two of those moments. One, I was 26 years old, living in New York City, doing my event planning, and I was bedridden with a mystery illness. I went through months and months and months of testing, blood testing and bone marrow testing and MRIs and every other test under the sun, until ultimately one day I was given the diagnosis, the prognosis that I would never be getting out of bed again. It was that moment. So flash forward years later, I'm strong, I'm fit, I'm vibrant, I'm married, and my then husband, my now ex-husband, betrayed me in the most unspeakable of ways. He destroyed our world. He destroyed my world and left me absolutely gutted in the process. We all have those moments. It's what we choose to do with those moments that define us and define our lives. Are we going to allow someone else? Are we going to allow circumstances to dictate our joy, our happiness, our freedom, our prosperity, and our success? Or are we going to walk through those moments with conscious awareness? Are we going to walk through the fire? Are we going to walk through the darkness and emerge on the other side as more powerful, robust, dynamic versions of ourselves? Women who take the reins of their lives in their hands. So I have for you today 3 practices, no matter where you are in your journey, to take the reins of your life in your hands. The first is forgiveness. I get a lot of cringe when I first say forgiveness, especially if, like me, you've been betrayed. When I'm talking about forgiveness, I'm talking about spiritual forgiveness. So spiritual forgiveness does not say that what somebody else did was okay. It's not letting somebody off the hook. It's not justifying their actions. It's not saying that you are going to allow that person into your life, and you're certainly not going to allow that person into your life without boundaries. What spiritual forgiveness does say is I absolutely refuse to carry any longer this toxic anger, negativity, vengeance in my body anymore. We know when we carry that toxic anger and vengeance and negativity that we create in our body dis-ease, which leads to disease. And on top of that, that's the vibration. That's the vibration that we're working on, that we're functioning at. The vibration that we carry directly impacts the experiences that we bring into our lives. So we're going to free ourselves from the negative energy, the low vibrational anger and vengeance by practicing spiritual forgiveness. Secondly, we grieve. We grieve what we lost. And not only do we grieve what we lost, we grieve what we thought was going to be. We grieve the future that we thought we were going to have. We grieve the death of the dream. And thirdly, we find purpose from our pain. So we're walking through the fire, we're walking through the darkness, we're emerging on the other side. At some point in there, we turn around and we help others. We turn around and we become of service. We move into service for others. So those three practices are spiritual forgiveness, grieving, including the death of the dream, and finding purpose from your pain. If you'd like more information on any of these topics, any of these practices, or tools to help you implement these practices, you can check out my blogs and meditations on my website, 𝐷𝐨𝐤𝐵.com. There's other offerings on there for you to help you take the reins of your life in your own hands, no matter where you are in your journey. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's incredible. And things that we as women go through, yet it does not break us. It just makes us stronger and more meaningful and purposeful in our lives.
Absolutely. And and as I said, I believe that we all live it at least once, the major moments. And I believe we have a lot of minor moments in there. And oftentimes I really believe it's because at our core, who we are is to grow and experience more. And there are times that we've just outgrown. We've outgrown the lives that we've created or built. We've outgrown what we've put around us. And if most of us don't easily move out of our comfort zone. If things are going okay, even semi-okay, we don't tend to disrupt the status quo. But at some point, that inner self of ours is it's going to burst through, and it can look like things going into shambles. But I do believe it's all part of us becoming the best versions of ourselves that we are.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that reminder, really, and also acknowledging the grief process. And I love the way you said the grief of what could have been, right? The life that never happened. And I find that, when you break up from long-term relationship, it's really quite true. Because you build dreams together, you have visions of what life will be, what you're working towards, and really starting after you walk out, you got to really redefine what your vision for your future is going to be, and it's quite a process.
Yeah, and honor that loss. And I think that at least that's what I see. That's what a lot of people we forget. We have to grieve all the aspects of it to truly free ourselves and clear our palette and clear our space to build what is next and now. And it deserves it, right? I mean, the death of the dream deserves the grief.
Yeah. Stacey, how do people connect with you if they wanted to connect?
The best way is on my website, @StaceyPaige.com, @StaceyPaige.com. There's blogs and meditations and all kinds of practices and tools on there. You can sign up for my email list. Once a week, I send out an email with spiritual principles and practices. And on social media, I'm Stacey Paige Inspired, and you can also access that through my website.
Amazing. Really excited to have you part of the Women Thrive speakers lineup and have you speaking at the Women Thrive Summit in March. So thank you so much for being part of this journey and being here to inspire and empower other women.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Stacey. Lovely to see you. If you feel inspired by any of our speakers sharing their stories, please make sure you follow their directions to connect. We have such an incredible and supportive community of our speakers, mentors, coaches, and those who have been through the thick of life to be able to support and guide you as well. Now, my next speaker is absolutely inspirational woman, and I have had the opportunity not only to work more closely with her, but also witness her in different parts, different seasons of her life. But Heather Hansen is affectionately known as a gut health paramedic. She's the visionary behind transformative digestive CPR framework. As a wellness expert, she's on a mission to empower leaders to conquer the relentless issues of bloating, fatigue, brain fog, and weight gain that medical community often leaves unresolved. Heather, I'm so thrilled to have you here. You're such an amazing powerhouse, such a nurturer, and you have a quite a story. So I'm not sure what you're going to share today, but can I just say I love you?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today. And, initially I was not back to back with Stacey, but I think the universe actually put me back to back with Stacey because of her message and what I chose to talk about today. It's almost that I have a case study that leads up to what she was telling, right? So I think it just goes to show what she was talking about just really blends into real life. And I wanted to share a piece of one of my clients' stories because it was a big piece of my story of having autoimmunity and having symptoms and no one being able to help me, and me finally deciding, hey, there's a different way to live and a different way to do things, which ultimately turned into my career. So a little piece of
Heather, I'm going to hand over the mic to you. Where are you joining us from? So
I am in Georgetown, Texas.
Amazing. Texas. Yeah, I've been there just this year. Heather, everything is always in divine time and divine purpose. So I certainly believe that. And we have 111 people watching us right now, which is quite a magical number.
That is a magical number.
So what I will do is I'll hand over mic to you, and I'll come back to chit chat at the end.
Excellent. Oh, just so exciting to be here. And, this talk is very interesting. It wasn't really what I was going to talk about. And this morning I changed my mind. And I'm going to tell you, this is for anyone that has walked out of a doctor's office and felt lost, frustrated, and unheard. And this is where you need to listen up. So I also want you to know I am not bashing the medical community in any way. I've been a part of the medical community for 27 years. It's very important. Although I also have a belief that each person needs to be listened to and heard, as there's not just one approach that will help everyone in every way. And so I'm sharing this story for reasons, including speaking up for your health, being your own health advocate. You are more than your diagnosis. You are more than your symptoms. You have a right to ask questions, and you don't just have to live with symptoms. There is a way to feel better. Although I'm going to tell you, it may not be the easiest way. There is a way to feel better. So I want to tell you a little bit about this young woman that I met in the summertime. She was referred to me. And when I first started talking with her, she had already been diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and I'm the gut health paramedic, so just right up my alley. She had to take time off from her career to be able to deal with this diagnosis. And she had symptoms that were knocking at the door for a really long time, a lot of digestive symptoms and history of anxiety, depression, psoriasis. She'd even had binge eating. And when I had her fill out her multiple symptom questionnaire for me, which looks at different parts of the body, so digestion, cardiovascular wise, mood wise, joint pain, all of those things, her score was 175. And if you score over 50, you're considered in the severe category. And so her body was screaming at her, telling her something's wrong and something needs to change. The problem is her body had been talking to her for a really long time with all of these symptoms, but they just weren't getting addressed. So the body was getting noisier and noisier and noisier and saying, hey, wake up. there's things that we really need to work on. And so at the point when I started seeing her, she had many doctor's appointments and she left most of them just feeling disheartened. She didn't have an answer for what was going on. She didn't have an answer of how she was going to solve it or fix it. She just really ended up with temporary medications and vague instructions. And she'd also started a gluten and dairy-free diet by the time that I had seen her. However, this was causing so much anxiety because she was so afraid to eat anything that no matter what she ate, she felt like she was getting sick. And she also felt that she was never going to get better. And feeling like you're never going to get better, it does not allow the body to heal. Whatever we're thinking in our minds, whatever we're telling ourselves, whatever we're believing, it resonates and is going to trigger the body to either be in a healing path or be in more of a sick path. And so when I see people, I take this multiple approach, systemic root cause approach, right? We have to look at the thinking and what the mind is telling us. And we also have to look at the physiology of the body and restoring function to the body. So as we're working through this, she was really surprised on the approach that I started with, which is different, as we really started about her thought of not ever going to get better. And I started walking her through this mindset protocol that I have, that if you have a thought and a belief that is causing you distress and not feeling very well, it's causing anxiety and just sadness or anger, if it's causing that, whatever that belief is not quite true, and something else must be more true instead. And so we started with some very simple reframing of her thinking that she was never going to get better was actually hindering her from getting better. Right? Because she had this fear, and that fear was preventing her from being able to move on. And so her simple reframe that allowed her body to recover was that she was working on a plan to get better. She was taking steps to get better. And as we approached this process, and as we had her sit down, knowing that the food was going to nourish her body, she was going to chew her food, she was going to give her the food, the love to give to her body, and that she knew she had a plan. With us working that way, that was incredibly life-changing for her in a very short amount of time. And this is so important that we look at the thinking behind what's going on, because sometimes we've been thinking something for so long that it feels like reality and it's not. And it can cause our body to create these unexplained symptoms that we don't know what to do with. So my takeaway for you is, if your body is screaming at you or knocking or telling you something doesn't feel quite right, if you're leaving the doctor's office just feeling that you're not heard, it's really important that you find someone that can really help you, that can trust you, that listens to what's going on, that can help you find that hope and can allow you to find a plan moving forward so that you can actually feel the way that you want to feel. So you guys can definitely find me on Instagram under my name at flourishnutritionaltherapy.com. You're more than welcome to reach out to me, and we can talk about symptoms and find out if there's a way that I can help. Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh,
no,
you can. You can. The tech is not being our friend today at all. I came on with the wrong mic. Oh my goodness, it's been a day, I must say to you.
I know. I agree.
But Heather, even before we came on, we were just laughing at, like, one of the things about you, even when you face life adversities, you still show up. You still have a smile on your face. You still laugh and make others laugh. And that's what I really admire you, Heather. And I'm sure people who work with you just have the most amazing time. So I don't know how you do it. Is there a secret to your magic of positivity?
You know, I believe life is a choice, right? When you get out of bed in the morning, you can make the day what you need it to be. And I'm not going to tell you that lately there's been days where I take one day at a time. I'm going to get through this day. I'm going to make this day the best that I can. And just knowing there's so many people counting on me to be able to help them, and I want to show up for them. And I also want to show up for myself because I've worked really, really hard to get where I'm at, right? And I love getting into root cause things. And sometimes, going through things like grief and other things and really challenging times in our lives, those are the moments that are going to be the most teachable moments that will actually help impact so many people. Somebody has to go through them to be able to write about it or talk about it, right? Or show people, hey, yeah, life sucks right now. It will get better, right? And finding the positivity in days and saying thank you a lot for things that I really am thankful for, even no matter how big or how small they are. It helps the body just resonate and really work like we want it to. So it's
Yeah.
important.
It is so true that we hold a lot of trauma and struggles in our body, and it starts to really affect every other part of area of our wellness and our lives as well. So it's so important what you do and just help bring awareness to people, and especially women who might be going through difficult times in their lives or menopause and changes, and just really bringing more awareness in how they can better take care of themselves.
Yes, definitely.
Appreciate it. Well, Heather, lovely to see you here, and I can't wait to see you on our summit.
See you soon.
Appreciate it. This was Heather Hanson, and we're off. We are off to an amazing start. And if you're feeling inspired, motivated, connected, please leave a comment below. Let us know where in the world you're watching. I know everyone is tapping on different platforms. We're streaming to various Facebook pages, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, even Twitch. We have expanded to new platforms. So I hope you're enjoying this wherever you're watching this from, or even if you're watching this on replay, just put hashtag replay. My next speaker is Cassandra. Cassandra Love Lambert is the visionary behind 𝐶-LOVE. She's a trauma-trained somatic transformational coach, an author, TV host, and an artist, fully certified in clinical EFT, brain spotting, and somatic attachment therapy. Cassandra is a beacon of hope and transformation for women seeking healing and empowerment. And most recently, I have seen Cassandra sharing her story so beautifully and vulnerably. And I'm so inspired by the work that you do, Cassandra, and the way you show up in this life, knowing just the struggles and challenges that you have faced in your own life. I think you bring a lot of inspiration for others.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Amanda. Yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me here. I'm feeling a little raw and vulnerable today, so this is perfect. For the first time, I actually put together something for you guys that's a little different. And my first statement I want to say it with as much love as possible. But one of the biggest things I had to learn for my journey was no one's coming to save you. And that's okay, right? Because you are a queen, whether you're aware of it or not. And it's time for you to rise and reclaim your crown. And you actually have this power within you, just like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. And it doesn't matter the cards you're dealt or what you've been through, the traumatic experiences. It doesn't matter the abuse you've survived. Like, none of these events can take away your inherent worth or your power. And it's okay if you've forgotten that. It's okay if you've forgotten the truth of who you are. I'm all crying. This is so crazy. I channeled this morning. I'm here to remind you and to give you the 3 keys to get you back thriving in your queendom. I too wasn't dealt the best cards. I was sexually abused from the time I was 5 to 8. And I also had emotionally abusive, immature, manipulative, and neglectful parents. Like, I'm writing my book and I'm revisiting all these memories. So I'm really raw today, but like, I can't believe a lot of the things I survived. And I didn't even know I had worth. I had no idea I was a queen, let alone a princess, right? And I had no one in my direct family or life modeling worth for me. And I felt like damaged goods. And I walked around life as I got older, just wanting to die. Like became very deconstructive, right? Like I would drive home from work drunk, hoping something would happen, and nothing would happen because there was a purpose, right, underneath it all. But I wasn't aware of it then. And somehow the universe had my back, and I ended up in this Meisner acting class. And it really brought me to the present moment. Before this class, I was living in survival. I was living in autopilot. So I wasn't very present or aware. And this teacher like said this thing to me in front of everyone and cut through all of it. And she called me out, and she said she wouldn't be able to work with me unless I got into therapy, because I had the most intricate defense mechanism system she had ever seen. I was so guarded, and I had so many layers of walls around me. And that was the moment that just took me on this trajectory of healing. And I got into therapy. I did EMDR, I did hypnosis, I did Reiki. I went all the places. I did shaman medicine circles with shamans. I was at all the retreats with all the coaches, with all the mentors. Like the list was ongoing. Like I could have like 2 or 3 houses by now with all the time, money I invested in myself, right? And I thought I was on a good path. And then because I was feeling really good about myself, I was starting to have some accomplishments, but then I had my daughter. And as my body was changing and I was starting to have postpartum, any of the work I thought that I had done, it was out the window. It was like starting over from scratch, and I was overwhelmed and I didn't know what to do. And I felt so defeated because I was like, what the heck? I tried all these things, nothing was working. And this is what actually led me to my knees, dark night of the soul. And I went down the path that I had avoided, which was towards a higher power. If there's a higher power, I was angry. I was so angry. I felt so forgotten. Like, how could you let all these awful things happen to me, right? And so there was a lot of anger there. So I wasn't open to it for so long in my life until this moment. And as I started taking steps towards this higher power, I was guided first to a school that really helped me connect more deeply with myself, my essence, really protect myself from other energies and have better discernment, and just learn how to cultivate my intuitive gifts. And it also gave me a way to connect with Creator. And as I continued to connect with Creator, I was led towards EFT, clinical EFT, also known as emotional freedom techniques, and somatic work. And I started doing EFT, and things started to change. And of course, when things start to change, you're like, is it just going to come back? Because it came back before. And as things began to transform and change and not come back, I felt so convicted. I was like, oh, wow, I have to share this with everybody, right? Like, how could I not share this thing to other people who might be struggling, who have tried so many things and it's not working and they still feel stuck in the same place? So I got certified, and I was led to other modalities like brain spotting and somatic attachment work and parts work. And I created my pain into power process. And I'm going to give you the first 3 keys today to really help you rise, reclaim your crown, and thrive in your queendom. If you implement these 3 keys in your life and you're consistent with it, your life will change. The first key I'm gifting you today is you have to put yourself first. What do I mean by that? One of the ways to put yourself first is to cultivate a daily practice that nourishes 4 sides of your being. Okay. So, what do you include in this daily practice? You're going to want to include some kind of movement for your body. You're going to want to include some kind of meditation. Everybody's different, so find one that works for you. You're going to want to include some kind of activity that really tunes you into, your spirit. And for everyone, that's different, right? It could be nature, pets, art, music. You find what works for you. And then you're going to want to include some kind of somatic practice, whether it's breath work, EFT, you find the one that works for you. That's key number 1. Key number 2 is to practice and learn somatic tools. This is important for your nervous system, and this is important so that you can feel more aligned with things. And the tools you want to learn is like grounding and EFT and breath work. You want to have like a whole bunch of tools in your toolbox that you can grab at any moment. And you want to use these tools in moments when you feel just fine so that they become second nature. That way, when you really are in a moment of distress, you'll be able to access it, because every human on the planet, when you're in a moment of distress, your thinking brain goes offline. So unless you have been practicing them and it's become second nature, you won't be able to grab onto the tool. So you want to just play with them and practice them just all the time. That way, when you really need it, it's there for you. And the third key is boundaries. You have to set your boundaries. And do it from a place of really listening to your body. Do it from a place of honoring your system. If your system really cannot handle something or tolerate something, whether it's a certain behavior for someone or a certain environment, you are the queen of your own castle. You are the queen and parent to yourself, and you get to set that boundary. And there's no judgment in that. Everybody's different, right? So what one person needs, someone else might not need. However, it's your responsibility to take care of yourself and honor yourself at this deep level. That way you can show up. You do feel safe. Your system does feel regulated. And that way you can be your best self and thrive in your queendom, right? So these 3 keys, if you implement them, and you do them with consistency, you're going to notice a shift in your system where you're more relaxed. And then when you're more relaxed, you're able to make more conscious choices, and you're able to follow the flow or be in alignment or synchronicity. And it's also to approach healing as a lifestyle and a journey versus just a destination, right? And so this becomes part of your lifestyle. You're creating your lifestyle to support you in growing and creating whatever you're meant to create. No one is coming to save you, and that's totally okay, because you get to save you. And these 3 keys will support you in reclaiming your crown.
I'm coming to save you. Don't worry. I said, I won't leave you hanging on stage. So much love for you, Cassandra. And I just want to hold that space for you right now, because I know you're going through writing your story, honoring your journey. And what a journey you've really been on in your life. And I know that it's such a brave thing to step out into the world and share it, and to say, nobody is going to save you, and you have had to figure it out on this journey on your own. I think everything happens for a reason. And as you said, you tried to drive down a motorway and perhaps hope that something would happen, but it didn't. And you're still here. And there's a reason why you're here.
Yeah. Yeah. There were so many of those moments where like the universe was like, no, that's not happening, like, and protected, and it is for a reason. And it is so I've come to realize it is so I could touch people in those really dark places that I've been in as well.
Yeah, and you get to do this magical work. And thank you for the reminder of these tools. Like, it's not just in the good days that we need to practice, but I mean, not only just in the bad days, but doing it in the good days. So we've got it in the toolbox. It actually made me think, what toolbox do I have? What tools do I need to deal with those days? So, Cassandra, I know you'll be speaking at the Women Thrive Summit, and what can people expect during your talk?
They can expect that I'll go even deeper into how they can reclaim their crown and how they can thrive, truly thrive from like inside out, outside in approach. Yeah, that's what they can expect. I'm just going to go more into depth and give them exactly what they can implement so that they can have a shift happen and feel it within a day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know I've tried some of these tools that you've mentioned, and honestly, it's as if someone just takes the lid off, and especially after you experience trauma.
Mhm.
Well, everybody's trauma is different, and there's
Mhm.
no comparison, but there are things that affect us, and when you start to practice these things, it's as if the whole lid comes off and you're a whole new person. So
Mhm.
it's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the trauma piece, everybody's is different, and how it impacts everyone is different, and what's beautiful is, like, the tools can work for all of it. It doesn't matter which one you've been through. It can support you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Cassandra. I hope people do get to connect with you, and we look forward to seeing your book coming out. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Amazing. So make sure you connect with Cassandra if you feel inspired. And also, you can leave comments in the chat and let us know if somebody is really connecting with you. And I know our speakers do go back and connect to any comments. So you can leave some love for them in the comments in the chat. Okay, my next speaker is Karen Sarmento, who is a dynamic success strategist with who works with high achieving women who are ready to redefine success on their own terms. She specializes in guiding accomplished women who, despite their outward success, feel confined by others' expectations and disconnected from their true purpose in life. Karen, so good to see you.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I feel
I look
honored to
forward
be
to
here.
hearing your talk.
Thank you. Oh, I had to pull myself together a little after the ladies, and Cassandra always strikes a chord with me because she's so powerful and such so vulnerable but so strong, so much to offer. And so to sort of piggyback off that, I work with women who have reached midlife and they've checked all the boxes. They're successful. They've got the job title. They've got the um, family. They've outward success has been achieved. Check the boxes, but they're still empty inside and feeling like they have a greater purpose. But what happens is we have these self-imposed boundaries typically based on our past. And I know for me, my story was that um, my husband had passed away very unexpectedly, and I started drinking heavily. And I had an 8-year-old son at the time. He's now 19, and we navigated those waters. But what I did is I let those mistakes and those challenges in my life define me for a very long time. So, what I like to do with women is help them to realize that you're not defined by your past. Your past is what it is, and you work through it. And there's varying degrees of what the past can mean to you. But for me, I allowed it to be a limitation. And I think what we here at Women Thrive want other women to realize is that you can have it all and that we are limitless. And I help women realize that those self imposed boundaries are just that, they're self imposed. And we've created the limitation. So, what I like to do is basically help people become aware of what it is that's holding them back. Where are they defining themselves in a certain way that's holding them captive, which typically has presented itself as a self image that is not really grandiose, and your purpose is so much greater than the way you're showing up. So once you have that awareness, it's making a decision that I want more than what I have now. And that was a decision I made many years ago. I'm going to say probably 8 or 9 years ago that I said, this isn't enough. It's not enough for me, and it's certainly not good enough for my son. So making that decision. And then when you start to do that, you really even unknowingly start to chip away at the limiting beliefs. The experiences, the people start to find you. And as you start to do the work and see yourself as being worthy of better and worthy of more, more starts coming to you. And it's a process, but you will find that process and every step gets delivered to you along the way. I'll be doing a lot of work with ladies at the Women Thrive Summit on the subconscious mind, how that can support you and can unknowingly not support you, and the importance of being aware of the limiting beliefs, aware of working on your thoughts, making sure your inner dialogue is serving you, and really beginning to create a legacy that you're going to be proud of. As many years ago, somebody said to me, what you don't fix in yourself, you pass along to your son. And I could cry just thinking about that, because at the time I was not showing up in a way that I wanted to be remembered for. So that's all changed. So, and I want that to change for other women too, who know they're meant for more, but they just can't seem to find out how, or to find the belief in themselves that they're meant for more. So that's kind of what you can expect from me.
Karen, thank you so much for sharing that and for being raw and honest and vulnerable, because it's not an easy thing to admit that you faced challenging times and almost self-sabotaged along the way, but then found your way out of it and found new purpose and meaning in your own life.
Yes. And you know, that's the funny part. It isn't easy to be authentic about the things we're not proud of. It's actually really difficult. It's even difficult here today. But when you realize that you're not alone in that, and that people make it through and they come out on the other side, but I think most importantly, that you're not the only one. Because I know I felt so small and alone. And I was the only person clearly that this was happening to.
Yeah.
But I wasn't.
Yeah, and it's so liberating. I wrote an email today about we liberate ourselves and liberate others of their pain as well when we're able to share our truth, when we no longer hide, and that's a way of becoming self-empowered and in sharing our stories.
Yeah, self-empowered. I love that word, because there is tremendous power in being yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Karen, how do people connect with you, and who do you work primarily with if ladies resonated with your story and wanted to kind of follow up with you?
Yes, the best place to find me is my website, which would be KarenSarmento.com. And then on Facebook, my personal page, Karen Sarmento, and my business page, which is Sarmento Mentoring Services. And I work with women and who tend to be in midlife. They've checked all the boxes and they feel like they're successful by societal norms, but they just know they've got a greater purpose because they're feeling really empty.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Karen. I appreciate it. I appreciate your honesty and vulnerability. That's what it's really all about, this stage, creating this beautiful space for others to know they're not alone.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Karen. Wow. We've still got some amazing speakers lined up, so don't go anywhere. And if you are still here, I want to see you in the chat. Let us know where you're watching this from, if somebody has really resonated with you. My next speaker is Daisy Lopez, who is a vocal activation and marketing consultant. Daisy is the founder of the Liberated Latina, a brand that has become known for its innovative approach to marketing that helps entrepreneurs grow their brands into global movements. Daisy, so good to have you here. Where are you joining us from today?
So good to be here. I'm in Miami, Florida. I don't know if anyone else is in Florida. What's up?
Amazing. Yay. Florida is one of my favorite places in the world. It's just so beautiful and just really amazing there. Daisy, I'm really excited to hear what you've got to share, and haven't had the opportunity to get to know you. I just think you have a really beautiful and powerful story to share. So I can't wait to hear it. Over to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello to everybody that's here joining, especially with this beautiful topic of celebrating the power of women's voices. And in the spirit of that beautiful intention, I want to invite you to join me in this mini experience. So if it's safe to do so, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes or even soften your gaze, bringing a hand to the base of your throat and taking a deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, allow a gentle hum. And I want you to notice what you feel, noticing the vibrations that you feel, the energy that you're creating, and even noticing the sound that you just filled the space around you with. And whenever you're ready, you can come back, you can drop your hands, open your eyes. That exercise has really become one of my favorite back pocket tools when I need to remind myself of the power of my own voice. And ultimately, that's really what I wanted to talk about in our few minutes here together, is that topic of remembrance. A remembrance that what you just felt underneath your palms has the power to create tangible, widespread, global change. And it's always been right there, right under your nose. But in order to do this very coveted thing, right, of owning our voices and owning our expression and using it to the fullest capacity, I found that a big part of doing that is having to actually confront and feel through, acknowledge some pretty painful things that we've experienced as women that keep our voices basically in prison, right? They keep it under wraps. And I want to share a brief story that highlights a little bit more of what I mean by this. So we're going back to when I was about 10 years old, and my family and I were vacationing in the Dominican Republic, and it was a super awesome resort. And one of the restaurants was basically just this like huge buffet. And most importantly, they had this buffet section of desserts. And there was a beautiful ice cream bar. You can just serve yourself ice cream. So basically a 10-year-old's dream to have your pick of ice cream. So I remember I went up to the ice cream section. I had a scooper in my hand and I was looking over trying to decide what flavor. And 1 second, the scooper was in my hand and the next second it was gone. And there was this figure of somebody that had just, without a word, taken the scooper, was around me, scooping themselves ice cream, placed the scooper back and left. And in that moment, I had this hot and cold feeling run through my body. And in my little 10-year-old brain, I asked myself, wow, am I really that invisible? That I wasn't even worth this person's glance, acknowledgement, anything in my direction. And I think the deeper question that I was really asking myself in that moment is my presence even really significant? Am I really that worthless of not even having this person acknowledge me in any way? And believe it or not, that memory resurfaced after over 2 decades of suppressing it because of how painful it was. And it came through when I was doing a somatic mentorship session with my mentor, because I was so fed up and really trying to get to the bottom of, why do I have this habit in my life of hiding, of not raising my hand, of not going for the solo in choir, even though I knew every note to the song? Like, why do I do that to myself? And then as a business owner, I was so frustrated because I knew that I was the reason why my message wasn't getting out there in a bigger and powerful way. I knew that I wasn't marketing in the way that I knew I was meant to, and I wasn't growing my movement because every time I would go to do that, something held me back. And through that session and through remembering that painful memory, I realized that my body had been frozen in moments like that. And that's what was keeping me stuck over and over and over again. And it took so much work similar to that somatic session and using the power of body-based healing to get to the point where I could free that part of my voice, where I could feel at home in my expression. And quite frankly, even be able to be here with you today and be able to share my story in this way. And the reason that I believe that, not everyone will be able to, or will choose actually to go down that path, is because, especially as women, and when it comes to owning our voice and our expression, we're presented with easier options, right? We're told to just shut down our feelings, fake it till we make it, to just check the boxes and be what everyone else wants us to be. I tried that for so long, right? Or to just be this persona, to hide who we really are, to be favorable for everybody. But I think all of us here know that true authenticity, true empowered authenticity and expression is the new leadership superpower. That's what people want to see in their leadership, right? That's what people want to see in the world. And in order to do that, and especially for those of us that are raising our hands to grow a huge global movement and to create and evoke big change, that's what we're really faced with, right? We need this deeper approach to owning our voices so that we can come into that full embodied expression. So my main takeaway for today is to remind everyone that your most authentic expressed voice is never going to be found out there. It's not found in anything outside of you. It's not even figured out mentally. It's something that you return inward and you experience within. It's something that has to be encountered. And ultimately, it's a choice for you to remember who you are and who you were created to be, and using that to be able to speak into the lives of so many that need to hear your story. So I'm really excited to bring this into the Women Thrive Summit, because I'm going to be sharing more about the breakthrough process that we at the Liberated Latina created and use with our clients that has changed my life, that actually guides you to have that visceral encounter with your most potent voice and your most emboldened expression, so that you can utilize that and go out and grow your global movement and reach the people that you know you're meant to reach with your story and your voice. And I really hope you're in the room with us, because I know chains will break free. I know voices will be liberated. And I honestly just cannot wait for that moment where all of us can be together in that summit and go through that journey together. So thank you all so much for holding the space for me. And of course, thank you, Raimonda, because this platform is amazing. This community is amazing. And I'm so honored to be here with all of you.
Oh, Daisy, I could literally see that little girl there and almost having an outcry. It's like, how can you not notice you're one of the most amazing, genuine, kind people. And I'm so glad that you've done the inner work and you're able to show up more powerfully and use your voice now to inspire others, because I think there are so many people who feel the same way, who feel like they're not heard, not seen, or feel insignificant. There's so much noise out there and we need to be heard. That's why we're doing this event, to really empower women and unleash women's voices, to advocate for themselves and others.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's just so incredible that I'm even here and a community like this exists. I think this is something that little 10-year-old would have never thought, that she would be in this room and have found this community. So it's spaces like this that we really need in order to be able to come together as women and from all different backgrounds and all different stories and walks of life, to be able to show up in this way. Because it's one thing to be told, right? Yeah, use your voice, own your voice. But it's another thing to actually walk into spaces that really welcome you and want that for you and coax that out of you. Because it's easier to hide. To your point, it's really hard to share your story and to show yourself openly and authentically. So this is an amazing community.
And never underestimate how much courage it takes to step on a stage, virtual or live, and to speak. I know that from experience, having lost my own voice and doubted my own existence in a way, and how many others are doing the same. But I know that there is magic that lives within every single one of us. I know we all have stories, and if that little girl could just come out and share her story, I think many other people would follow. Thank you for just beautiful support from others here today. Daisy, I'm thrilled to have you on our stage. What is your talk going to be about at the Women Thrive Summit in March?
We're going to go a lot deeper into the vocal reclamation process. It's such a core piece of how I work with clients. A lot of people think marketing is just the branding and the content strategy and all of that. But I believe that marketing, especially for those of us wanting to grow a global movement, is so much deeper. And marketing is something that first coaxes us to liberate ourselves and our voices, that process of remembering. And then it becomes a celebration of who we are and what we want to create in the world and what we want to leave the world with. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into what vocal activation technique actually is, which is a process that I created from just the most healing somatic practices that allowed me to find my voice. And then we're going to start tying that into how that really elevates the quality and the connectivity of your marketing so that you can grow your global movement.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe in this work, and having been through a similar journey myself, I think it's life-changing when you're able to step into your power, into your authentic version of yourself, and start speaking from your heart. And I think that's where the future of leadership is, and creating amazing movements. So I love what
Amen.
you got to share. How do people connect with you?
I love just chatting over on Instagram. I always say my DMs are always open. So follow me on Instagram at The Liberated Latina. And then I'm usually a lot more verbose in this. My community was like, are you really sure you can keep it to 5-6 minutes? They were kind of joking with me about that. So you can find me over at The Liberated Latina podcast. And we have much deeper, long conversations over there about finding your voice and marketing, growing a global movement, all that fun stuff.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Daisy.
Thank you.
Congratulations for reclaiming your voice and being here with us to share. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, we are halfway through, and what a way to transition to the second part of this event. If you're still here, let us know in the chat. Absolutely thrilled for the support and encouragement of all of you. And this is a safe space to share, safe space to be yourself, be your true and authentic self. And this is what I advocate for at Women Thrive, to reclaim your voice, to have power within, to show up your most authentic, true, unapologetic version of yourself, so you can create those movements yourself, so you can start speaking your truth and be empowered. And there's a massive, massive difference. Even this morning when we were running the Unleashing the Power Women Voices event, somebody spoke on our stage this morning, and I could see a huge energetic shift in her, because she has been going through self-acceptance process and internal healing. And it was very, very evident that she was very comfortable in who she is. And this is when we're able to truly make an impact in the world. So if you have a business, if you're wanting to do movement, or if you're wanting to, bring something beautiful into this world, the first layer, I believe, is doing the inner work, the self-acceptance, empowering yourself. And it begins here, begins by observing others, starting to understand where is your comfort zone, and how can you step out of your comfort zone and kind of get to the edge of it, so your inner warrior could step in and hold you. And communities like this are here to support you. So if you don't know much about Women Thrive yet, we are a global platform for women who are in business, entrepreneurship, coaching, authorship, and just life, who are looking to really delve in more into personal development space. We have a Women Thrive magazine, which is in print and shipped globally. So if you have not checked it out, you can go over to womenthrivemagazine.com and check out the digital version of it, or subscribe in print. We also publish stories of women in our Women Thrive book series. So this is a beautiful compilation of women's stories that we share. And that's about women overcoming adversities in their lives and really thriving despite all of that. And all of this is to say, we're here to inspire you. We're here to hold that space and make sure that you feel in your power to make a difference in this world, because I believe that everybody has a story, and I believe that everybody's here on purpose to contribute something in this world. So I have more speakers lined up for the rest of today. So I hope you stick around. We've got some other amazing speakers in the house. And I think we're going to shuffle the order of speakers a little bit, if you don't mind. Next up, I would love to invite Danielle. So Danielle Sebastian is the founder of Wife Care. She's an expert on identifying and overcoming trauma in relationships. As a best-selling author of Resilient Wives, a guide to wives supporting their husbands through childhood trauma recovery book, Danielle shares her inspiring story of resilience and hope, detailing her journey as a wife navigating the complex challenges of being a partner of a childhood trauma survivor. Danielle, we just actually recorded a podcast earlier today. What a pleasure to see you twice in one day. Where are you joining us
from? Isn't that amazing? I love it. I am joining from Missoula, Montana girl.
Amazing. Well, Danielle, I'm really thrilled to hear you speak on our stage today. And I'll come back and we'll have a little chit chat at the end.
Sounds great, Ray. I wanted to talk today about how I found myself in a position that I had never dreamed. And I ended up getting through it. And I really want to talk about how we can take the most painful experiences of our lives and turn them into good. So essentially, my story started about 15 years ago when I was a pharmacist. I was moving up the pharmacist ladder and I found my dream guy. And we got married on a beautiful beach in Kauai, and I could not wait for our future together. We had a stepdaughter that we brought into the family, and we're excited to add other members to the group. And it wasn't long after we were married that I just started noticing some behaviors that I couldn't put my finger on. It was like I was constantly walking on eggshells. I just never knew what I was going to do or what I was going to say that was going to cause some very strong emotions. It just seemed like the little things that other people and other couples could get through, no matter what I did, it just seemed like we were in this constant pattern of always feeling like we were walking through a landmine. And it was only at the point where I just threw up my hands and didn't know what to do that my husband was able to reveal to me a terrible history of childhood abuse at the hands of the church. He'd never told anyone before, but I think we both knew deep down that if this secret didn't come out and we didn't tackle it head on, that we were on the brink of losing everything. Now, I was very naive when this reveal occurred. I was under the understanding that, oh, great, I finally have this thing that I can put my finger on. And if we do some hard work for the next 6 months and a year, that all will be good. And we can get back to how it was, when we were dating and first married. But what I ended up finding out is that trauma is very complex. And the way that childhood trauma, it affects the brain, and it changes the way that a trauma survivor processes things. And so a lot of the coping mechanisms that they used in order to survive their environment and their childhood just end up not serving in adult relationships. Now, the average age that most trauma survivors, especially male trauma survivors, reveal that they've had a traumatic past is 50 to 52 years of age. And you can only imagine, even if you're in your 30s and 40s, if you've been working through those coping mechanisms and using them, that making those changes in a relationship is not that easy. And so I delved deep. My husband and I did the work on his trauma, and I researched everything I possibly could. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I tried a lot of different things, and we ended up making it through. And our relationship survived, and we are truly happy. And I was looking everywhere when I was going through this for a community of other wives and other spouses who were going through the same thing. And I could find nothing. I just really struggled. So I would say that sometime along the way, I read this quote from Toni Morrison, that said, if there's a book that you want to read and no one has written it yet, then it should be you. And at that moment, I think I knew I was kind of pushed by some of the counselors that we'd worked with and some of my friends that maybe I should write my story, that maybe the tools and the things that I'd researched would be helpful for others. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, is that I want to encourage people that if they're going through something painful, or if they have survived something painful, that really, I think that making something good and trying to make something good out of that pain is actually very, very cathartic. And it really does make you feel that you went through it for a reason. My husband and I, we really feel like we made it through for that reason, that we were intended to tell our story, to tell other people what we learned and what worked, so that if we could even help one person and one couple with what we went through, then it was all worth it in the end. Thank you, Ray. I'm so excited to be able to speak on this further in March.
Yeah, when I first heard about the topic that you're speaking about, I was like, oh my God, it's so needed. Nobody is talking about it. And, you know, you really mentioned about having a community and knowing that you're not alone, because it's quite tricky to navigate something like that, especially as a spouse, and kind of finding out there are things to uncover is so personal and deep, and it's not conversations we have on, you know, on the public domain. So I really give you kudos for doing this.
Thank you. Everything with trauma is complex. And I would agree with you that the ways that you communicate, the ways that you can create new patterns, they're all very complex. And so it takes a lot of trial and error. But I do want people to know that there are things you can start doing today to improve that and really start creating different coping mechanisms in your relationship than those ones that just aren't working.
Yeah, amazing. Danielle, how best people can connect with you?
My website is the best place. That's where I have my resources. I have a free download on there. If you're like, hey, some of the things that she was describing, I'm experiencing, could this be something that's underlying that? And so it's called Spotting the Signs, where I really, talk about what are some of those signs that those things could be occurring in your relationship? How do you identify them? And what are some things you could start doing today when you're recognizing them? So my free download is on the website, DanielleSebastian.com. Very easy.
Love it. Thank you so much, Danielle. It's lovely to have you here, and I can't wait to see your talk at the Women Thrive Summit.
I am so excited, and man, I am loving all of the other speakers. It's going to be amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are talking a lot around inner transformation, healing, growth. And as you've seen, we are talking from so many different perspectives. Life-changing. Honestly, this is life-changing stuff. And I don't underestimate it, and I don't say it lightly, because I think every time you want to grow, every time you want to do something new or amazing in your life, there's probably going to be things that come up that you need to work through, and that's in some way, shape, or form related to inner work, healing, growth internally, because no matter how much strategy you have, until you're truly aligned, until you're healed, until you're aligned to that thing to happen in your life, nothing is going to budge. So this is the real work outside the strategies in life. Next up, I would love to invite Amy Saunders. So as I said, we're shuffling our lineup a little bit today. But Amy Saunders is a serial entrepreneur and master certified business and mindset coach. She has overcome many traumatic events in her life and that have shaped her into who she is today. This includes losing a sister to suicide, abuse, divorce, being in a broken single mom, and deep betrayal trauma recovery. After hitting her rock bottom, Amy realized that she could change her stars. She learned to speak her voice, take her power back, and move from self trust, which changed the trajectory of her life. Amy, so good to see you. Loving the vibrant colors of you. Hold on, we're going to pop your mic off mute.
My goodness, I did that earlier. Okay, well, hello. I'm glad to be here. And I'm now off mute. So thank you for the amazing introduction. And I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, good to see you, Amy. Where are you joining us from?
I am in Utah in the US. So yeah, just beautiful mountain state. I love it here.
Yeah. Okay, Amy. Well, I'll hand it over to you and I'll be back as soon as you finish.
Okay, sounds good. So what I want to talk to you guys about today is that no matter where you have been, you can always make a decision to change, and you can still reclaim those dreams that you've had no matter where you are in your life, no matter how long ago you started dreaming them. You can always find them and you can always find yourself. And I wanted to go back a little bit in time. So when I was a child, I was super spunky, fun. I loved to dance. I loved to play. And I just had a really big personality. But I grew up in a big family. We had 7 kids, and it really wasn't accepted to be able, like, my parents didn't really accept this behavior of being loud and fun and spunky. And so I was taught to really stay small, stay quiet, be agreeable. And it really conflicted with who I was. But I learned that by doing that, I was able to keep the peace and not get in trouble. And when I talk about this, I love talking about this because it got so extreme to where when I would even try to ask for literally anything, I would feel like my throat would like close, and I would try and talk and it'd be like as if someone was squeezing it shut. And so I just started doing what everybody else wanted, and I would agree with them, and I wouldn't be so loud, and I wouldn't speak up, and I didn't really share who I really was. And after doing that for so long, you really do lose yourself. And what this looked like for me was by the age of 22, I got married to a man that we had only been dating for 3 weeks. And I love to tell this story because it's like, what, you got proposed after only dating for 3 weeks? And yes, I did. And when he proposed, I left him on his knee. I was shaking, my heart was pounding, my throat was tight. I was sick to my stomach. I had like a massive panic attack. And it wasn't because I was super excited. It was because that I knew that I shouldn't marry him. But it was the conditioning of not being able to actually speak my voice was so strong that even that came out as a yes. I couldn't tell him no. So what I said was, well, did you ask my dad? And he was like, well, yeah. I thought surely he hadn't asked my dad. It's only been 3 weeks. But he had asked my dad, and my dad had said, well, if it's okay with her, it's okay with me. And so I just said, oh, he did? Okay, sure. And so that's where that marriage started. And that's also the deepest self-betrayal that I ever did do, which as time unfolded, within 4 years, we had 3 kids. I was super lonely in my marriage. It was a very unhealthy marriage. There was a lot of things that went on in that marriage that I'm sure will come out in time, but this is limited today. But long story short, I initially had to use my kids as a crutch to get out, meaning that I didn't want them to see that this or accept that this behavior was okay. And so I had to start doing things differently because I didn't want this to be their future. And for them to know, I get emotional about this, but that for them to think that this was okay. And so I did. I started picking up the pieces and asking myself, what do I actually want? And it was really hard. It was really hard to just ask a simple question of, what do I actually want? What does Amy like? It's like I didn't even know. But as I did that, And as I started speaking my voice, and as I started to make decisions that I wanted, which were super simple, like what do I want to eat for dinner? Or maybe I'll go to the mall all by myself without kids pulling on me, like little things. But as I did that, I started gaining my power back. I started stepping into who I really was. And I started truly learning how to self-trust. And I like to tell people that you are an old soul. Your soul knows what you want and what you're capable of and what you're meant for. But we get really good at betraying ourselves. We get really good at listening to everybody else. But when you learn how to turn inward and when you learn how to actually speak your voice, you become unstoppable. And that's ultimately what's happened for me in my life. My life has completely changed. I've been able to create multiple successful businesses. Within 5 years, I had created $1 million portfolio, which is still crazy for me to say. I'm in a healthy marriage. I have amazing children now that are emotionally healthy, which is what I was like hoping and praying for. And that's what I love to teach women how to do, that your voice matters. You are more capable than you know. You have unique strengths that when you tap into those, you become the most potent, most amazing, beautiful version of yourself. And you can have all of it. Whatever is on your heart, you can build. It's on your heart because that's your soul telling you that this is what you're capable of. This is what I want for you. And so by turning inward, you can do that. And I have been able to help inspire thousands of women at this point. It's been an incredible journey. And I love showing them how to do this. And I do this through my AAA method, which just is called awareness, alignment, and abundance. When you become aware of how you're allowing people to treat you, when you become aware of what you're accepting, when you become aware of the thought processes that are going on, you can make a change, which then helps you come back into alignment. That part of you that wants to live there, which Ray was just talking about before this. And as you do that, your life becomes abundant. And that's what I'm going to teach on in the summit that I'm excited to be part of. So in closing, I want to just ask you, what are you accepting in your life? And what do you want to stop accepting in your life? If I were to give you like $1 million right now, what would you do with it? What do you actually want? And what are you going to do this year to move towards your goal? If your life isn't where you want it, I challenge you to get really curious. Get curious, see what isn't working for you, and start to make those small, simple changes, because that is where it starts. For me, it was literally asking myself, like, wait, I get to choose what I have for dinner. I'm making it, but I can choose. It can start that small and then just start to move towards that goal. Again, I've already said it, but if it's on your heart, you can build it. You're the only person that you have control over. That's it. It's just you. You can't control your mom, your dad, how you grew up. All of those things are also in the past. You can't control your partner, your friends, or your neighbors. Even though we might want to, we can't, right? And it doesn't really work out for us in the long run. But you can control you. You can turn inward and you can move from alignment. And when you do, everything in your life changes, and it's incredible. And that's what I want for you. You matter, you're worthy, your voice matters. I want you to speak up. I want you to be heard. I want you to go after everything that's on your heart that you desire. And I'm totally cheering for you. I'm excited to dive deeper into the AAA method at the summit. And I can't wait for it. And I'm so excited because these speakers have been incredible already. So I'm honored to be part of it. Thanks, Ray.
Amy, yay. Oh, amazing. Your story, your journey, just things that you have overcome, and really finding yourself, finding your voice, empowering yourself. It's the biggest gift that you can give yourself, having been through a roller coaster ride in your life. Just taking your power back. And look at you. I mean, what you've created is super inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you. You as well. It's an amazing work that everyone here is doing. So
Yeah, we need more examples like this. So other women who have been through the tough beginnings can know that they can still claim it back. They can still have success. They can still build an amazing life despite of all of that. And there are examples like yourself who've been there and done that, and now you stepped into a whole different life, new relationships, successful business, and now you're able to really advocate for yourself.
It's amazing, but it's also totally capable. Anyone can do it, you know. It's like that's what I'm super passionate about sharing. It's like you get to decide. Anyone can have what's on their heart. We just need to make the decision and then just go for it.
Yeah. Who do you tend to work with, and how do you support your clients?
I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs because they're driven and they, you know, I am one, so I'm able to speak to that, but just helping them uncover their unique strengths, their geniuses, while also a lot of times we have healing that we need to do and learning how to step into that more powerful position of us, that potent, authentic self, so that they can, you know, see those dreams. And I like to think that the bigger impact I make with them, the bigger their impact will also be, right? We're able to spread it because we're all those trailblazers that are then pushing the work forward to all the other women. So yeah.
It's a magical ripple effect.
Absolutely.
That happens. You know. Amy, I see your handle, but what's the best way for people to connect with you if they feel inspired to do so?
Probably on Instagram, which is just Coach Amy Sanders. And then I also have my website, which is the same. It's just @amysanders.co. There is a lead magnet. It's like about gosh, as I get tripled on my words or stumbled. Money magnet is what it's called. How to become a money magnet. It was like a tongue twister for a second. But yeah, that's on my website if you want to get that.
Just remind us of your website address one more time.
@amysanders.co. So instead of com, it's co. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Amy, I know we're going to get to see you at the Women Thrive Summit, but also we get to read your story in the Women Thrive book and launching in February, which I'm really thrilled about. So congratulations.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm so excited. This has been an amazing journey so far with this community. So I appreciate the opportunity as well.
Thanks, my love. Good to see you, and I hope you have the beautiful rest of your day. Thanks, Amy.
You too.
This is Amy Saunders, and what a story. And this is an example that anything is possible for you. Doesn't matter where you've come from, doesn't matter what life challenges you have faced. You can step into your power. You can change the narrative. You can change your life, and you can find purposeful work, meaningful direction in your life, because no matter what you've gone through, you could be doing amazing work. And I hope that in today's at this event today, you're feeling inspired. You see examples of other women taking their power back, claiming their voice back, and doing something in the world that's creating ripple effect. And that's one of the reasons when we were looking for a name for this event, that's the reason why we called Unleashing the Power of Women Voices. And that is really encapsulating what it is that we do, which is, you know, creating opportunity for women to share their stories. But really, it's about inspiring you to unleash your own inner power, to do the inner work, and to know that there's abundance and limitless potential what you can do in this world. So that's why we do what we do here at Women Thrive, to support you. Okay, my next speaker, I see her waiting in the wings. Another colorful background. You guys are making me want to level up my background. So next up is Haley Thomas, who is a dynamic business strategist, a speaker, a podcast host, and a founder behind The Passion Pursuit. With a mission to empower multi-passionate creatives, Haley understands the importance of building a business that not only thrives financially, but also enrich the life of others. Haley, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to see you too.
Where are you joining from?
I'm joining from Wisconsin in the States.
Amazing. All these amazing places you guys are from. I need to get a ticket to the States and come and visit you in all these different parts of the world.
Yes, please. A little US tour or world tour.
I know. They all sound amazing, and there's something quite magical, unique about each state. But I've never visited, and it's about time I get the passport and get going.
Yes.
Haley, I can't wait to hear your talk, and I'll be back once you're finished to just catch up with you.
Amazing. I am here today to present a challenge. And my question to you is, are you dreaming without limitations or with limitations? We grow up with this childlike wonder, with dreams that are bigger than ourselves. I remember receiving that question as a kid of, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my answer was always huge. And I wasn't thinking about why I couldn't. And as I began to get older, I started to hear phrases like, you need to be more realistic, play it safe. That's not within the normal route. You need to go this way. And I listened to that for some time. And I will never forget having pursued a degree in college that felt more like the safe path, but was not out of a place of what felt truly aligned to what my soul was calling me to do. And I'm sitting in this building and I'm working on this project. It's 3 a.m. and I am flooded with tears because I couldn't see another option. I knew deep down that I was meant for more, but I felt like I had to take this more conventional way of success because that was shown to me as the only way to get there. I was introduced to entrepreneurship about halfway through school, and it was the first time that my eyes were opened to a life that could involve more freedom, location, time, creativity. And it was the first time that I started to really back myself and ask the question, what if I could? And sometimes it's just that simple shift of, rather than answering all of the reasons why you couldn't, what if I could? What if there was another way? What if the dreams that I'd placed on the back burner didn't have to stay there? And with that flicker of courage and a whole lot of faith and a lot of twists and turns on this journey, I discovered that there was indeed more than one way to have a life that was not only successful, but one that was fulfilling, one that was rooted in joy, one that was rooted in what you valued most importantly. I saw entrepreneurship as this vehicle to doing that. And as I moved through this, what I desired mostly was to show other people that it was possible. And through this entire journey, I think it was just time after time of surprising myself, because if I were able to stay open and just ask myself the simple question of, well, what if I could? Or what if this was possible? Just even if it was for a moment, that flicker of courage would propel another door, another opportunity, another journey that I never even expected to go on. And I think sometimes we miss out on the opportunities that are there for us because we're so close-minded to it has to be this way. But I believe that it is within our passions, our joy, the things that light us up, the way we love to help others, the things we love to speak about that help us to actually be the pioneers, the creators of our own life. So now I teach on this. I love to hold space for people to dream. I want to show others that there is a wealth of opportunities that lie from them stepping into their gifts that they already had this entire time. I want to remind you that you can dream bigger than yourself. Before, when you felt limited, it's like there's no limit. We all have an absolutely unlimited, untapped potential when we give ourselves the opportunity to go there. I want to remind us how to dream again, to no longer stay in the safe lane, but to challenge ourselves and go bigger. Getting out of the box of what is considered normal, what is approved, not settling for lives that were laid out for us, but rather asking those deeper questions of what do we desire most and how can we create that? There's always a way. And we forget this sometimes. We lie into the realm of why we can't, but I want to take us to the realm of possibility. I want to take a stand for those dreams that others may deem to be realistic. I want to remind you that you have ideas that are needed in this world. You have a voice, you have a story, and you have gifts that will change people's lives. I want to remind you of that you can take those dreams and that can be your new normal. I created the Passion Pursuit to be the space for people to dream again and to rediscover this. And most of all, to recognize that most of the limitations that stand between where we are and where we want to go are simply the limitations that we're placing on ourselves. So in my talk in the future and at the summit, I plan to bring up the blocks that may be in that gap. And how can we remove those? How can we work through them or with them so that we're no longer the one standing in the way of what we could create in our business and in our life? So for now, today, I'll leave you with this question. If you are going to ask yourself the question of what if it doesn't work out, then you owe it to yourself to ask, what if it does? And if you're looking for that permission to go for what you desire most, consider the fact that if the desire is present, that itself is a sign for you to go. You are one decision away from completely changing your life. Maybe you are the answer to your prayers. I look forward to speaking at the summit. I look forward to creating the space for you to dream and for you to be reminded of your unlimited potential. So thank you.
Yay, Haley. Oh, you're speaking to my heart. You're speaking to my soul. And that's exactly the kind of the mindset that I've always fostered. What if the possibilities were limitless? Um, it's just amazing to remind our audience that also you don't have to settle. Whatever's been told, whatever life you may have now, you can create something else. Don't ever settle. Ah, I'm so glad there are people like you in the world.
No, thank you. Likewise.
Because truly, there are people who will crush your dreams all day long, who will say, you're being unrealistic. You're dreaming too big. Who said that? Come on. There are opportunities and possibilities. I mean, if the man's been to the moon and if we've been able to create things like we have today, skyscrapers, the internet, our ability to do these things, why not? Why can't we do these amazing, incredible things, especially as women? I think we're so innovative and creative, and we got limitless potential to do that.
100%. And I think about the things we have today, and I imagine 50 years back, someone trying to explain that idea for the first time. And they probably sounded crazy, but thank
Yeah.
goodness they kept going anyway. And it's just that reminder that sometimes those outside of us may not understand our vision, but they're not meant to, because it's your vision and it's your responsibility to take it forward, to drive it forward, and to see it through.
Yeah, it's like that quote: if you're crazy enough to think that you can, you probably can. So go after it, right? It's the is those the crazy ones, the doers, the innovators, those who think outside the box. Is those ones that create the future. And I'm super passionate about it as well, Haley. So I'm excited. Now, tell me, how do you support people who might want to explore their unlimited potential?
Yes. So I work with a lot of earlier stage entrepreneurs. Work with people who desire more and they truly want to create that life for themselves and using entrepreneurship as the vehicle to do that. And so I work one-on-one. I also have a program called the School of Passion that lays that roadmap out for somebody to truly take their passion into action and bring those ideas that may be in the journal or in the notes of their phone or wherever those ideas are hiding out. It's like no longer it's time for them to be shut. We want to bring them to life, bring them to the surface. So that's how I work with people in this season.
Amazing. How do people connect with you if they want to take their passions into the world?
Yeah, so the best place is definitely Instagram. My website and Instagram are the same. It's the Passion Pursuit Co. So that's the username on Instagram, and that's also the website, thepassionpursuitco.com.
Amazing. I actually can't wait to go check it out because I want to see what it is that you do, even delve in deeper, because I think when we surround ourselves with the dreamers and the doers and those who tell you that anything is possible, you can take it to the whole different level. So I'm super thrilled to have you part of our community and also have you featured as the Women Thrive speaker in March.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a blast to just in this entire journey in the community, but we definitely need each other to rise together.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I look forward to having you on our summit. And for now, thanks so much, Haley. I appreciate you coming in here and inspiring our audience today.
Thank you.
This is Haley Thomas. I am so thrilled that we have this wonderful lineup of speakers. And if you're still here, I want to see you in the chat. Yeah, they say, but what if it does work out? Absolutely. Your passions, your dreams have the potential of working out. And I think it's a little bit of the right timing, divine timing, right? A little bit of luck, abundance of vision and self belief, and taking action. So you gotta have these ingredients as part of your success recipe. And it has the potential to work out. The first thing you need to do is believe and have that vision. I think without the first step of having the vision of what you want and what you desire, you don't know which direction to go. But the best part of it is our community is here to support you. We have some amazing speakers, amazing authors, mentors, coaches who are here to support you. And if you feel inspired and motivated by some of the ladies who are sharing their stories today, make sure you reach out to them. Their DMs are open for you. So go ahead and reach out, and you don't know where one conversation could lead you to. My next speaker today, and actually, I think our final speaker for the evening is Devin Sarno. So, Devin is a US national champion public speaking coach, a performer, and a founder of Parlay Communications. With over 15 years of experience, she blends her love for live performance, improv, and comedy to help others find their unique voice. Devin's engaging, passionate, and compassionate coaching style empowers individuals to express themselves confidently and authentically. Devin, hello. Where are you joining us from?
I am actually joining you from the back office at my public high school in Denver, Colorado. So we don't have a fancy background, but that's sometimes what you got to do in life. You just got to jump in where you're at.
Wow, taking it way back. I'm sure you have a story why you there right now.
Well, so I, as you mentioned, I work as a public speaking coach. And so part of that is here in a public school in Denver, George Washington High School. And I am one of the co-coaches of the George Washington Speech and Debate Program. So I've been with this program for 12 years. I have amazing co-coaches. So my students right now I actually have an off period. They're not sitting in front of a movie or anything. They're not just waiting for me to come back. But I have an amazing team of team coaches that are like, yeah, go do that, and we'll have you when you come back. But you might hear a bell, you might hear something, because that's how life in a school is. But I love that I get to be here and show the kids that, like, you can take the skills that we're doing in class, and yes, we take them to competitions, but then you can also use them in your everyday life out in the business world. And so it's kind of fun to be like, hold on, I got to go do that. I'll be right back.
I love it. I mean, you're walking your talk right now and delivering talks internationally and locally, which is amazing. Well, Devin, I can't wait to hear your talk personally, because that's a bit of my passion, speaking and communications. And I know you got something lined up for us. So I'll come back when you finish.
Wonderful. So I am so happy to be joining everybody. As we talked about earlier, I am right now in a public high school in Denver, Colorado. And so I think that really will shape the context in which the information I'm talking about today comes to you, because I spend the vast majority of my time working with students on the way they speak. There was the bell. And the way that they communicate, because those skill sets are always going to stay with them as they go out into the world. My students are amazing. In the past 12 years, I've had a handful of state champions. We've had some national champions. We've had numerous people who have been on the nationals final stage. And last year, our team placed first in the state of Colorado by rankings. We won the 5A state title. And then we also, the rankings just came out, I believe it was Tuesday, that we ended our 2003-2005 season ranked 5th in the nation. So I'm so proud of my students. But all of that work over the last 12 years has really given me an insight into the power of storytelling and how we can effectively use storytelling to communicate a message that's bigger than us. So we're not just up here giving our memoirs, but we're taking our life and lived experiences, and we're combining it with what we're trying to communicate within a business setting, within a meeting. Maybe you're on stage and delivering a keynote, and how do we marry those two things in order to be effective? And so it made me think about one particular student that I have worked with many years ago. And this student actually contacted me this week to check in and see if they could come back and judge for us and work with us, because most of our assistant coaches are alumni of the program. And it was such a wonderful moment to have that text message. And here's why. When this student was in high school, they were incredibly competitive. They had a lot of talent in the event that they competed in. And so they were successful at the national level. As we competed, we travel about once a month. They were competing and winning tournaments there. They were successful in state. And so a lot of people, myself included, assumed that this student was in a supportive situation, because nothing had ever come up that would lead me to believe that this student was struggling outside of their success. But as we headed to the national tournament, their senior year, this student started to shirk their responsibilities, which was abnormal for them. And it was something that I knew mattered to them. I knew that they had goals at nationals. I knew that they had been aware of the added workload to go to nationals. And so I progressively got more, I don't want to say demanding, but more urgent with my text messages, as I was like, where are you? Why are you not completing the work? Why are you not at practice, etc.? And finally, the student reached back and expressed, I really need to talk to you. But I can't do it except this certain time, which was later in the evening. So me and my coworkers met with this student at a diner nearby. And, we didn't know what to expect. We were confused. We didn't know why we needed to meet them there. We didn't know why we needed to not just get the work. And this student shared with us that they were homeless, that they were living out of their car, for a variety of reasons. And in that moment, I felt shamed that I didn't see it, that I hadn't recognized the warning signs of a highly successful kid starting to decline. I felt aware of my own hyper-focusedness on competitive success, overriding my instincts as a teacher. And I stopped in my tracks and just became fully present with that student and listened to what they needed, because that just because they were 18 doesn't mean that they weren't still a kid. They didn't even have a high school diploma at that point, because they hadn't officially graduated, and they were in their car overnight. And so we stopped, we got them the help they needed. And that student went on to be highly successful and on the final stage that year at nationals. And that doesn't matter to me as much as what I learned in that moment about what I need to keep present when dealing with my students. And I think that interaction made me such a better coach. And so when you come into these experiences in life, they're going to be totally different for you. You're not necessarily going to find yourself talking to a teen who's homeless, but your experiences are going to impact you in a way that's going to make you more effective at your job, at the presentation that you're giving, at the sales pitch you're offering. And so there's this push to use your story to show that clarity that you have, that experience that you have. But what I just offered was a story that didn't expose my students' identity. If you go back, you'll realize that I never told you my students' age in terms of the year that they graduated. I never even told you the event that they graduated or competed in. I never told you their gender. But what I did tell you was how I felt by that experience and how that transformed me. And so as I keep talking to the women in Women's Thrive and the amazing audience that joins in through their podcasts, through the Women's Thrive Summit in March, I want to keep encouraging you on how you can utilize the experiences that you've lived and the different pain points that you've had in your life, without overly exposing yourself, because so often we're confused in these moments. I'm in a business meeting, but I've been told to tell my story. What do I offer? How many details? And it's so vital that we learn what matters in those moments and what doesn't need to be there, so that I can still have my own privacy, identity, and mental health in check. And I'm here to empower you to figure out that fine line for yourself, because we just don't need to be pushed as women or anyone to overexpose ourselves in today's modern world of more, more, more. Because at the end of the day, you are worthy. Your lived experiences have value, but you don't have to exploit yourself and others to tap into the power of your story. So I'm excited to share that with you.
Beautiful. What a powerful message to share, and just a powerful reminder that you can take your power back, and you don't have to overexpose, and you can still do the work that you're doing. You can still
Yes.
inspire people. You can still create big impact. But we can do it mindfully in our own way and be empowered in it. I love that.
Yeah, just the idea that the world demands a lot from us, and we don't have to do it the way they say. That yes, we can use our stories, but we don't have to trauma dump things that are unprocessed. We don't have to expose all the details that make us feel not our best selves just because Hollywood does it. We can stand in our power and get the effect without exploiting ourselves.
Yeah, I always say this to our speakers as well. Just a reminder, it's like, look, if you don't feel comfortable sharing it, you don't have to. There's things you can keep sacred. It's really not about exposing ourselves like that, and standing in your power, standing in your truth, and
Yes.
being okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Devin, what can people expect at the Women Thrive Summit from you?
So I'm going to take that idea and I'm going to expand it to actionable ways that you can look at your different stories, your different experiences, and identify which ones are the ones you should be using. And then how do you incorporate that into a bigger pitch? Because it's so easy when we just get up here and need to talk about ourselves. But then how do we take that and move it into the stuff that we really need to talk about, which a lot of times has nothing in connection by the naked eye? Data, a sales pitch for something unrelated, maybe even just trying to make a business connection. And how do we take our story, make it a logical experience and transformation into what we're also there to talk about, and not exploit ourselves in the process, creating, but still creating that connection that stories have the power to make.
Yeah, beautiful. Devin, this has been amazing. I'll let you get back to your students and the work that you're doing on the ground.
Yes.
Just want to say thank you so much for being here and delivering this beautiful and powerful message today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. And I hope you enjoyed hearing something from high school. All right.
I love it. Oh, before you go, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
How do people connect with you?
Excellent question. So I am on all the social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram with my name, Devin Sarno. But also you can find me on LinkedIn under Devin Sarno or Parlay Communicators, or you can come to my website, Parlay Communicators. And there is a portal there with which you can contact me and learn more about how I can work with you and help you to find your own accessible story.
I love that. Thank you. I think so many people actually struggle with finding their story, and this would be
It's a tricky
really,
thing
really
to do. I understand. It's painful, but it can be powerful.
I love it. Thank you so much, Devin. Look forward to
Thank
seeing you at the
you.
summit in March.
Bye.
Well, this was our last speaker of the day, and what a beautiful event it has been. I'm so, so grateful for all of our speakers for bringing their wisdom, their experiences, and their stories to our platform to inspire you, empower you, and just create these beautiful connections. If you feel inspired by anybody who shared their story today, I encourage you to connect with them. This is why we've created this community and this platform for all of you to be part of, to connect, and really to see where is your where is your opportunity to grow and make a ripple effect. Maybe share your story, maybe it's to feel more empowered, inspired, to do something magical within your own life. I want to say thank you so much to our team who helped us make this happen. Particular big shout outs to Joel, who has been behind the scenes. This is our production manager who has been doing all sorts of technical things to make this event work. So I'm really grateful for him. And also want to give a shout out to our Women Thrive TV, who now streams every single day at Women Thrive, on our Facebook and our YouTube. And every day we have different shows hosted by some of our community members. So whether you want to tap into women empowerment, messages, spirituality, growth, money, motherhood. Tap, tap, tap. This was Women Thrive, and I hope you enjoyed. My name is Rhonda Jan, and I was your host today. We will be back on a third Thursday of every month for the rest of the year to spotlight more incredible women. If you have enjoyed today's conversations, please head over to womenthrivesummit.com and join our waiting list for the upcoming Women Thrive event that is going to be happening the third week of March, spotlighting all of these amazing women on our stage. For now, thank you all so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you at another event. Take care. Have a beautiful rest of your day.